Alright, so here we are, 6.3b, continuing on with this the second example. Alright, so what we've done up until this point is we found the vertex, found the foci, and the slope is plus or minus b over a, or plus or minus 3/4. Now what I was trying to explain in the last video is that we can graph 3/4 from the center point. So remember, y over x is our slope, so that means go up 3 over 4. Okay, and that gives us this slope right there, which is an asymptote, and then it says negative 3/4. So over negative 3, or I'm sorry, up or down 4. Okay, Gary, let's think about this. Down 3 over 4. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's down 3 over 4. Okay, so that gives us our other asymptote. Okay, now what I was suggesting is, instead of using b over a to find your asymptotes, just find your vertex and then find your conjugate axis, or your b. So your b is at 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 down. And then the vertex is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 negative. Okay? And what we end up getting when we do this is we end up with our asymptote without having to figure it out. Now, in a perfect world, if I was good at graphing, the white dotted graph that I did using this would be the same as the yellow one. But since I'm not that great at graphing freehand, it doesn't show that way. So now when you want to draw the asymptote, or the hyperbola itself, you know you don't cross the line of your asymptote, and you know that this is your vertex, so it touches that and then it swings around. And the same as here, it doesn't touch the asymptote, touches the vertex and swings around. And that ends up being your hyperbola that you can do without actually graphing the slope there. Alright, so anyway, we're going to keep going on these, and you'll get to where you'll have this a little bit better. Hopefully I'll be able to clear my brain and explain this a little bit better on how to do this. Okay, so the current picture is page 549, and this is the formula, or the formulas, for hyperbolas where the center is not on the origin like you're used to. It's going to be offset there, so that means your formulas are going to look different. The other formula was just x over a, y over b. You know, x squared over a squared, y squared over b squared. Now we're subtracting hk, which is the center point. Same thing here. You subtract. So the h and k are going to be a part of that because the h and k are the center points. Now in the last one, where the center point was on the origin, h and k were 0, so they didn't show up. Well, now they're going to show up. So let's go ahead and put example 3 up here, and then we'll talk about it. So we've got 4y squared minus x squared plus 24. Y plus 4x plus 28 equals 0. Alright, so we're trying to get this to look like this, or this here, depending on, you know, where our negative is. Is there a negative on the x, or is it on the y? So let's go ahead and rearrange these. So we're going to put the y's together. And we're going to put the 28 over here. Okay. So let's take this and factor out a 4. And we'll make this x squared minus 4x equals negative 28. So basically what I did here is I took this, put parentheses here. When I put parentheses here, this negative is on the x squared, but now the negative, since I put parentheses, is also on the 4x. So I had to make this a negative, so a negative of a negative would give us our positive 4 back. Okay, so and the only reason I brought that negative out is because both of these have negatives. If they didn't both have negatives, I wouldn't have worried about it. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. Let's complete the square for both of these. And we did this in last lesson, or we have been doing this, so it shouldn't be too terrible. Half of 6 is 3 squared. Half of 4 is 2 squared. Okay, now remember, what I did to one side, I have to do to this side. So what did I just add? I added a 9 plus 4. I added a 36. And I added a 4 here. Okay, so this here is going to change from a negative 28 plus 36 minus 4 to just a positive 4. Okay, so let's just take that out, and I'm just going to put a positive 4 there. Alright, so let's go ahead and write this. So we have 4 times y plus 3, quantity squared, minus x minus 2, the quantity squared. Hopefully you remember that. The sign goes there. Square root of that is the 2. Square root of that goes here. And that equals 4. Okay, so according to this here, let's see which one we've got. Looks like we're going to be using this one, because the y is first, then the x. Y is first, and then the x. So that being the case, we're going to have to get this to be a 1. So we're going to have to divide everything by 4. So this becomes y plus 3, quantity squared, because those 4's cancel, over 1. Because it says that there is a number under there, okay? We have to have a number, so we put a 1 there, minus over 4 equals 1. Okay, that is looking pretty decent. Let's get all this junk out of here. Oops. So I can start looking at what I've got, and in this case I have this important information. Now we just have to make it look like this. Alright, there's a minus sign, I have a plus sign. There's a minus sign, I have a minus sign. Okay, so that's good. And that's a minus, and that's a minus. These have to be squared though, so I'm going to have to turn those into squares. So let's do this in red. Y minus negative 3 squared over 1 squared minus, don't change anything up there, but down on the bottom we change that to a 2 squared equals 1. Okay, so the reason I did all that is so I know what my A, B, and C are. So my A, my B, and my C. Okay, so my A is 1, because there's my A, and my B is 2, because that's my B, and then I end up having to find out what my C is. So my C is going to be 1 squared plus 2 squared equals C squared. So 1 plus 4, 5 equals C squared. So my C is actually square root of 5. Alright, so let's get rid of that, because we're all done with that. And really, I think I'm all done with everything except this right here. Okay, so let's move a bunch of this stuff out of the way. Let's move that up. And let's see what we've got here. What are we supposed to do here? We are supposed to find the center, the vertices, and the foci. Okay, so from the information that we have right here with my A, B, and the C, let's go ahead and find the center vertices and the foci. So the center is HK. Well, what is my H? My H is -3, and my K is 2. So my center is -3, 2, you would think, right? But what is this? This is my K, this is my H. So we need to switch those around. And so 2, -3. Sometimes I make mistakes, so I'm assuming that probably you might have a chance of making a mistake too. Okay, vertex. Vertices are, let's see, right there. So vertices are H, which we said H is 2, and then K minus A. So that would be -4. So I'm going to erase that and put a -4 there. That's one vertex. The other vertex also has H, and then K plus A, which is -3 plus 1, so that's going to be -2. Okay, so the foci then, that we're supposed to also find, is H, K minus C. So, K minus C, what is K? K is right there. We had scribbled that out right because we switched it. So K is -3 minus square root of 5. And then the other point is H, K plus square root of 5. Okay, so we added C. So we took our H and then put our K minus C, which is the square root of 5. So -3 minus the square root of 5, and then this K is -3 plus whatever C is, which in this case again is the square root of 5. So that gives me my foci. So I've got my center, my vertices, and my foci. Now it's asking us to graph. Alright, so let's go ahead and graph this. And I'm just going to put a small little graph here. Okay, so let's graph this. My vertex is at 2, or my center is at 2, -3. So there's my center. My vertex is at 2, -4, and 2, -2. Okay, so 2, -2, 2, -4. Okay. And so that being the case, I'm going to draw a line there through each one of my vertices. And there's my center. And now my B is 2. So my B is 2 away from my center. So my B is right here and on my y-axis here. Okay, so notice my B is 2. That's telling me how far it goes in each direction from my center point. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now see, I've got a box here. My vertex box and my vertical. Now I'm just going to go real fast because I'm running out of time. Through the corner, through the center down, through the corner, through the center down. And I know that this is my vertex, so I'm going to get a line that goes like this. Up there, and then down here. Okay, so that ends up being my graph. Goes through the vertex, doesn't cross either one of the asymptotes. Okay, so that's that example, and I think that's it. So I think we're good to go. Any questions, let me know.